called and said like, hey, like I just got stuck. I'm on my way. She's like, great. The person that's after you is already here. So we'll sneak them in and then you can take their, right? Like just simple communication of letting someone know so they can readjust.
Welcome to the Leading Lane podcast for real estate pros by real estate pros with your hosts, Ashley Frederick and Stephen Birch. If you're looking for an honest, authentic, and raw perspective, you found it.
All right, welcome to the Leading Lane podcast. We're going to start with one of my pet peeves. Right? It's easier to come up with topics about pet peeves, but this seems to be happening more and more and more, and it drives me flipping nuts. So we get to vent about it for a second.
Right.
People being late, right? People not being on time. We have an appointment starting at 2 o'clock, whatever the appointment time is. That's when it starts. That's when you move forward. That's not when you arrive, not 10 minutes after. It's wild to me. Is it just me or is that unacceptable?
I find it unacceptable, but I also feel like it's the new norm.
Like what makes it the new norm? Like why, what's the reason that people think that's okay?
I don't know. I don't know, maybe generational, potentially. Maybe like not feeling or seeing the consequences. I think a lot of people try to also be like understanding, if you will. And let's be honest, like things happen, right? I get that.
Sure.
But also like if you maybe planned accordingly for the things that could happen, then you would still be on time. So I think that sometimes I think it's not like a character reflection, but it's I'm not sure what the word is, but it's kind of like, how are you showing up every day type of situation. So then like, is that how you are with clients? Is that how you are like for a showing or for a listing preview? And then what does that reflect back as far as if people choose to work with you or not? So I think that it's a really simple thing that people take for granted.
And I think it also too, like life does happen. I totally understand that. Traffic, I get it, but maybe we should have planned a little bit differently. But if you walk in and you have a fresh Starbucks, you're 15 minutes late and now you're disrupting what I'm doing, what everybody else in the meeting is doing. And now we have to, we all stop, look, and we get to see that you have Starbucks, but the rest of us made the commitment and we're determined to be here on time and start on time. But yet you get a nice little treat. I think it's just extremely disrespectful. There's no common courtesy or, compassion with that whatsoever. I think people are extremely dismissive with it. And if you really think about it, if they're late by 15 minutes and you have 10 people that are sitting there in a meeting, right, that we're all waiting on you, you just wasted 10 multiplied by 15 people's time.
Mm-hmm.
That's rude. Time is valuable. One of the quotes that I pulled up is 15 minutes early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable, by Billy Porter. Yeah, unacceptable. Be early. Like I always think if you're going to show up late to me or for me from the company perspective, is that what you do and represent our company for other people? Because if you're willing to do it to me, I know you're definitely willing to be late for other people too.
Well, we recently did a whole bunch of interviews and I thought that was just an interesting, like watching people when they show up. So I would say that most were 10 to 15 minutes early, which I appreciated, but there were, I think maybe 2 or 3 when I think like, let's say the appointment was 2 and it was like 1:59. And then I would be like, you think they're coming today or not? Go ahead.
No, like one of the things for me, like when I interview people, I tell this at the broker retreat all the time. If we have our appointment at whatever time and they come in 5 minutes after, I won't even interview with them. I'll tell them, thank you, you're not a good fit, have a great day. I'm not going to waste my time. Like, again, if they were to notify me and there's different things of communication on the front end that I might take in consideration, but for your interview, that's how you're going to show up. Like, I don't want that as part of my company.
Sometimes I wonder if it's like repetitive lateness type, like obviously for us, like we're always running. So sometimes we'll be late for each other and I'll be like, I need to pee before we hop on, or right. Can we allow that time? But sometimes I think like if it's besides interviews, if it's like a brand new appointment, do people then go out of their way to make it on time? Where if it's like a repetitive weekly office meeting or weekly training or something, then does it somehow become more acceptable to be later?
Right. Maybe that's valid. Like maybe it's no longer a priority for them,
Mhm.
to where if it's a one-time appointment, they're on time, but now that's because it is on repeat reoccurring, it's no longer a priority. And I think that maybe that's where leaders step into place, that, you don't want to be perceived in front of everybody like as an asshole or whatever you want to call it. Like, but you're the leader. If you are showing everybody else that it's acceptable and you're allowing them to enter late like that, that means that you're telling everybody else there it's okay. There's no consequences here. We're not going to hold you accountable. That's not something that me as a leader that I want to be able to do
Mhm.
whatsoever. I want them to know that it is important to me that we start on time, and I value everybody else's time. So I want to be respectful and start on time as the leader, not just bend the rules for the one person out of the 10 that, are supposed to be here. That's not fair.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times, like in trainings or whatnot, I think about like conferences and whatnot too. I think people bend the rules because they're, like waiting for people to come in or whatnot. But I don't know. I guess I look at it that like if they miss something really valuable in the first 5 or 10 minutes, like that's just kind of what they get for not showing up on time. I think a lot of it goes to like actually preparing your day to start with. So I recently read the Miracle Morning. I don't know if you've read that or not, but it just really talks about like that, like 1 hour and what that does for setting up your whole entire day. And I think that so many people just get in the routine of like rolling out of bed and flying versus like getting up early enough to literally think about where you're supposed to be and when and how it's going to be. And I remember during COVID, like our calendars were back to back to back to back, which, right, like didn't have time to pee, but you had to like try to think about how much it took from one side to the other. And you always had to like try to buffer yourself. And so even for me, like I know the town inside and out, but I still put like a appointment that I'm going to in my GPS. So I'll still be like, maybe it's only 10 minutes away, but like I'm going to put it in, make sure that I know exactly where it's at and that, make sure on the map it looks like it's the right side of the road, etc. And maybe I thought like I've had this before, like right, there's different towns, Spencer, Stratford, whatever. Well, it's like a 15-minute drive. Well, maybe it's on the other side of Spencer. It's still a Spencer address, but that's just added 10 minutes. So if I only give myself a 10-minute buffer, well, now I just made it so that I might be late. I mean, I've had those circumstances where like a client walked in right when you're walking out, right? And then you got stuck or whatnot. But then I will always like call whoever, wherever I'm going and be like, I just want you to know, like, I got stuck. I'm on my way. And it's like, oh, no big deal. But right, if you just happen to show up 3 minutes late, I think that they would take offense to it.
No, no. And again, life happens. It's about the communication. It's making sure that they understand. We went to Kansas City yesterday to go get our haircut, and we got stuck in traffic because of freaking construction. Everything is under construction here. And I messaged our barber. I was like, hey, this is like an hour before because we got stuck. I was like, I know this is going to put us back behind on time. I'm 15 minutes behind schedule. So just wanted to let you know. He was like, yeah, no problem. Totally fine. And then when I got there, he was like, people don't actually do that, right? I was like, what? He's like, people don't actually tell you that they're running late. They have an appointment 2 o'clock. They show up at 2:20, and then because it's in 30-minute window block, and they're mad because I tell them that they're late and I can't get them in, even though they have 10 more minutes left in their appointment time. He's like, can I do a haircut in 10 minutes? Yeah. But I then can't turn over and my station and everything else. So why am I going to put myself under pressure when it wasn't a priority for you to be here or communicate with me that you were running late?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, never thought of it that way. Like, I would personally wouldn't think that my I have 10 extra minutes here, or you had 10 minutes to get me in and demand it. I think that goes into the entitlement type of side of things, and that's not kosher with me either.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was supposed to go to a chiropractor appointment, and yes, something, I think a client walked in like right when I was walking out. So I was like, oh, like I needed to talk to him quick. And so I called and said like, hey, like I just got stuck. I'm on my way. And she's like, great. The person that's after you is already here. So we'll sneak them in and then you can take their, right? Like just
Okay.
simple communication of letting someone know so they can readjust.
Yeah. So, I mean, with this too, we're talking a lot about like leadership and how we do things. Let's shift it to where like clients, we're showing a client property and we're meeting them there at the property and they're always running late. How do you manage somebody that might be a repeat offender of running late to your showing appointments?
So that happens quite frequently. And I think that they've had to learn, because then I'll be like, you have an allotted time normally. So maybe you have a 30-minute time frame to look at the property that's been okayed. So if they show up 15 minutes late, I will literally say like, yeah, so we're gonna have to basically dart through this house. And I was like, we literally have 15 minutes. We have to be out of here at 12:30. And then they kind of look at me and I'm like, I mean, that's what we're set for and we have to abide by that. And the seller's probably waiting for us. I think that normally once you like tell them like, this is it, we got 5 or 10 minutes, I think they think that same thing, like a hairstylist, like, well, we can just add on a half hour or whatnot. And it doesn't work that way. There's probably even some clients that I've started to, if I know they're habitually late and let's say it's going to be noon, like I just make it for 12:15.
Mhm.
Right.
Uh, One of the things that I do is I send them a freaking calendar invite and I adjust their notification settings on their side. Like I get them two, but I'll do an hour before, right? 30 minutes before, 15 minutes before, 5 minutes before. And I had somebody be like, I mean, that's a little excessive. But if you showed up on time, I wouldn't have to do that. And this is to help you make sure that we are, adhering to our schedule of what we're making these appointments for.
Think about the amount of times that like you have had a showing with someone and then they didn't show up and then you text message them and then they say they forgot. And then, I mean, right then that just messed up my whole next hour and a half. I could have turned someone else down for something. Like now you got to find another time in everyone's schedule that matches. Like that just, I think that's a really good idea, is a simple calendar invite or a simple text like beforehand.
Yep.
Okay, see you in 30 minutes.
Yep. I'm already putting it for me, I'm already putting it in my calendar. So adding an email, like that's not difficult whatsoever. So
Mhm.
that's something that
A great
I
idea.
incorporated, quite often on those people, and definitely the buffer, like making sure that I have a leeway either direction if we're running early or running late. So I try to set our appointments to hit right in the middle of those time frames. So,
Mhm.
and I'd be intrigued, like, what is your opinion of that? Like, from an agent perspective, scheduling through Showing Time or whatever the scheduling platform is, if I schedule from 4 to 5 and I show up at 4:30, is that acceptable? Hmm.
That yeah that they're going to come at any point in time between hours. So if it's between 4 and 5, they might show up at 4:15, they might show up at 4:30, but that they have to be out by 5. And I think where that comes into play, which a lot of people don't think about, is that it's normally not just one property that you're showing, so it's normally a
Right.
chain of 5 or 6. So when we're scheduling those showings, like we're making a best guess that this buyer might take 30 minutes in this house, they might take 15 off, or 15 in this house. So I was like, I think that that's a tough spot to be in. But that's actually part of our listing, not agreement, but in our additional information is it literally says like the showing might be scheduled from 4 to 5. However, that does not mean that someone will be there at 4, because sometimes they'll get a seller and they're just waiting around the block. So they'll call
Yeah.
you at like 4:05 and then they'll say, I haven't seen anybody yet. And same thing too, that can be hard though too, in that maybe they come right at 4 and they're done at 4:15, right?
Right.
We have, I think it's in everyone's showing time, but you can do like notify that you're done, and I think that that's a really good option that more people, could use. But I just try to prepare. Again, it goes back to communication. If you're telling your sellers that to begin with, it should be less of a shock. But I will say, for me, it's frustrating when they're scheduled from like 4 to 5 and then the seller will call you at like 5:30 and say like they're still in the driveway. Like to me, I think that that's disrespectful as a agent. Sometimes I'll get an agent that'll be like, hey, we're running late. Can you ask your seller if we can stay 15 minutes? Like that's easier. But if someone wants to chit chat or whatnot, I'll normally say like, oh, like, let's just go down the street a little bit. The seller might be wanting to come back, or like, let's go to the office and have this conversation more. But I think just staying in someone's driveway past your allotted time is not really respectful.
I totally agree. I think you have to be very conscious that there's multiple different parties that are involved on this, and making sure that you're looking at it from their perspective, and then having grace to be able to make sure that, yes, there is going to be some leeway here, but that going back to that entitlement and then that lack of communication, if that's happening, like, to me, those are things that you can change quickly that will have a drastic change in how you handle your business. And I think, honestly, probably the perspective that people have about you. So,
One thing, like
um,
you mentioned your calendar. So
mhm,
like one thing I've started doing is, right, same with like the alerts, is that if my showing is at 10:30, like I'll block my calendar off as of 10:15,
mhm,
and then put like 10:30 showing or whatnot, so at least it's blocked off, no one else is scheduling anything. It's reminding me then actually 30 minutes before that I
mhm,
need to get to somewhere. I mean, I live and die by my Google Calendar invites and whatnot, so I literally every morning I'm like, where am I going? And
mhm.
sometimes I'll adjust them because I'll be like, "Ooh, I did not give myself enough time in between," or "I want to buffer that." So I think it's really just being like aware. And again, I think a lot of people are just running by the seat of their pants without planning their days structurally, and that's where I think you end up being late to meetings and appointments. Where if you could just, spend that 5 minutes in the morning, like readjusting and calculating for drive times and traffic and whatnot, you could probably be a lot less stressed throughout your day.
I could not even imagine the amount of chaos that I would be creating if I just went with the flow and not use my calendar, not use systems and tools to make sure that everything is staying on track. Like, it is legit no structure whatsoever. And let's face it, in this business, in life, right? Like, we don't know what's going to happen. So we need to make sure that we're planning for what we can control, or where we are supposed to be going, so that then when life does happen, something, traffic or whatever else, you now know everything that you need to adjust, versus trying to keep everything in your brain, or
Mhm.
on that little notepad that you have next to you 24/7. So definitely, it's a huge topic that sounds so small, of just be on time, but there's so many different ways and views to be looking at this, and how it really compounds together on other aspects of your business. And that one, again, small thing has huge impact for everybody around you.
So if someone's really struggling with being on time, they're habitually late, what is one suggestion that you have for them?
I think it's really, if you know that you are, right, and let's face it, typically people laugh about it and like, oh, I just went to Starbucks, I just did this, just did this. Like, if you know about it, like, really evaluate, how does that make everybody else feel in there. Write down each person's name that is in that meeting, is in that room, at that appointment, and write out for each person how you think by you being late impacted them. And then tell me if that right there, if that can't help you change to try to be on time, or to implement different things, then I don't think anything's going to change at all, because it's all about you and you don't care about other people's feelings. Is truly what I think about that.
I like this. Um,
Yep.
I think, I think just trying to change your routine. So like if you're always
Yep.
10 or 15 minutes late, like what does it look like if you get up 10 minutes earlier? Like what does that really look like? If that means, like if you are going to be that stressed in the morning, if you just got up 10 minutes earlier, would you then not be that stressed? Like not forget your lunch, not forget, your computer at home, like those types of things. Like is not sleeping for 10 minutes more worth the non-chaotic part of that? And I think that's just where people have to like figure out their priorities as to
Mhm.
like, is showing up for someone on time, the best thing? I think I gave the example one time, but a really good client, and we were meeting like 35 minutes away, and like I said, it like whatever the traffic, it threw me off a little bit. And so I just texted him and said, like, per my GPS, I'll be there at XYZ, which was still before our showing time. And, his wife later told me like that sealed the deal for them working for me forever. And it was like a simple text, be like, I'm on my way.
Communication. Simple. People don't know that it's that freaking simple. Talk to people. Let them know what's up. Don't leave them in the dark.
Yeah, I think it goes up to like showing up for yourself is showing up for others.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yep, absolutely. Because again, if you're willing to do it for yourself. You're going to do it to everybody else. So love it. Good topic. Thank you again for allowing me to vent today. Because again, there's been a lot of pet peeves here recently, but that's okay. Getting through it, using this as my little vent session. So thank you everybody for listening. If you have a topic or if you have a guest that you would like to have on our podcast, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with others. Stay connected for more genuine insights and strategies to boost your real estate career on Facebook or check out our website. We'll see you next time.